Welcome, sixth graders. So we're getting into now. We're transitioning from our hunter-gatherer societies to now more of the early farming settlements that were established throughout the world. Okay, so we're going to look at how they're able to make changes, and they had to make these changes for two huge reasons. One is that there was a change in the climate, meaning that for hundreds of thousands of years, there have been different ice ages throughout time. All right, and about between 10 and 11,000 years ago, the last ice age ended. And as the glaciers receded, that brought up new lands. That meant there was warmer temperatures were coming around. So this kind of changed the way that all changed the way that all people were going to start to have to live because you're going to have new plants. Plants are going to have to learn how to change and adapt. Animals are going to have to learn how to change and adapt to new foods, new climates, all those types of things. And then the second thing is that we get this population growth or overpopulation. So even though they were still kind of hunter-gatherers, they would still go out and hunt and gather their food. For the most part, they had kind of settled into large areas. So they weren't necessarily sedimentary. They didn't stay in one specific spot, but they stayed within certain areas where they had found there to be plentiful food supplies and things like that. So population starts to increase because they don't have to travel as far anymore, or even travel at all from where they are, because they're able to find these um, fertile areas. Right. So because of that, now they become, I guess, more aware of the environment to which they live in. They don't just use it for food anymore and shelter. They're kind of observing what's going on, realizing that, like, hey, this crop grows at this time of the year, or hey, this crop grows at this time of the year. This crop needs this, all sorts of those types of things that they're going to need to be able to sustain a society. All right, so here are kind of the early farming areas. We're really when we are talking about this, we're just focusing on this area right now of the Tigris and Euphrates River Valley and the Nile River Valley. We will get into these areas later on in the year. Last year we talked about the Middle Americas and the Andeans, so we know that there's specific conditions that needed to be met to hit that, and part of that's climate change. Part of that is just having the right growing conditions because it's getting warmer. The sun's out longer, the temperatures are warmer. That means that the plants are going to be uh, better suited for growing, and all these sort of things. So this, why this happens about 10,000 years ago is because those conditions are just about at the right time. Right. So as a way of life, farming is initially harder for hunter-gatherers. That transition, that mind change, that mindset of changing to this, but also it's a lot more labor-intensive work. Hunting and gathering, you went out and you may have tracked an animal for a day and then killed it and dragged it back. Then you have your meat. You may have gone out and find the berries or the nuts or the fruits that are or the vegetables that are closest to you, whatever. And then you went back and ate for the day. This, with farming, it's a much more labor intensive. It's harder on them at first to kind of adapt to that type of thing. A way that they're able to get larger tracts of land so that they can produce more food is this kind of slash and burn farming, which is it's just that you literally cut everything down and then you burn it to get more nutrients into the ground. So because they're able to farm, and in a maybe a 50-acre area where it may have supported them for I don't know, let's just say 5 days. It could have been more, it could have been less. Who really knows? Now that 50-acre area could support 150 people. Just saying, I don't really know. But the idea is that you're having a surplus of food, all right, because you're able to grow it, and you're only eating what you need to eat, and the rest of it you store. So then you gain this surplus, and by gaining a surplus, then now they're able to start trading with other people. So we start to see trade evolve around this time. We're also starting to see other jobs come about because you don't need as many people to farm as you do to hunt and gather. So we have new trades being developed as well. And so because of these people being able to settle down in these areas, we're starting to see kind of more advanced societies pop up. And by what I mean by advanced is that not, it's not that they're any less, hunter gatherers weren't any less smart than farmers. It's that new technologies are being developed, new ways of life are being developed. You have kind of what we get for complex societies than the hunter gatherers, which didn't have the complexity that they needed. They didn't need all these laws and sophistications and customs and all these different things before, and now we start to see these. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll catch you on the flip side.